When we started to date, my husband was managing a farm and milking about 30 dairy cows with his parents. He taught me how to milk the cows and run farm machinery and do some odd things around the farm. I was very close to his parents and loved them dearly, so after we broke up, I was devastated when I found out that his father had a massive stroke and was in the hospital. I knew what it meant. I had to swallow my pride and go out to the farm and offer my help. He took me up on it, and it forced us to be in the same place at the same time, even though neither of us really wanted to be. Well, you can imagine what happened. The veil was lifted, and there was no point in not arguing anymore. He was not afraid to say what he really thought, and we started fighting and fighting and fighting. One day, we had a massive blowout in his driveway. We were dropping F-bombs like it was Hiroshima. It was really bad, and I peeled out dramatically in my car. After about an hour, I calmed down and I asked myself, why was I really going out there? Was it because I had some kind of fantasy that he would fall back in love with me and want to be with me? No, it really wasn't. It was because I still loved his parents and wanted to do the right thing by them. So I called him up and we got together and I said, look, I promise if you let me come out there and help you milk those stinking cows, I will never bring up our relationship again. He really needed me, so he said, okay. Well, I went back and I was good for my promise. I didn't bring up our relationship at all. And over the next couple of weeks, something very strange started to happen. We started to become friends again. One night he said to me, look, Mom's making dinner. You can stay if you want. I said, all right. And I didn't think anything about it. A couple nights later he said, I'm going fishing. You can come if you want, but it's just fishing. I said, okay, we'll just go fishing. And I took it as a sign of goodwill. Gradually things became a little bit deeper, and within 2 months he fell back in love with me again and things were on. We were engaged 6 months later and married a year after that. How did this happen? Well, it happened because of one thing. We both wanted to change. Lynn realized that if he didn't learn how to communicate with me and tell me what he really thought, he would never ever be happy. He would never be able to pull off another relationship because the same thing would happen again. I realized that I had really been a jerk and that I needed to change my ways as well. And we both set off on a journey of doing that. I will not tell you that it happened overnight, but I'll certainly say that by the time we got married, we had both learned some much better coping skills. I'm also not going to tell you that things had been perfect for 25 years, but I will tell you that they have been damn good. We are, in fact, happier than most of the people I know. We've had a couple of bumps along the road. Some of those have been pretty serious, but we always worked it out because we were always willing to go back to the basics of understanding that you will never have a successful relationship if you're not willing to look inside yourself and change. And I'm not talking about changing your whole personality. I'm simply talking about changing your communication skills that are problematic. If you learn nothing else from this whole semester, I hope it's that. You are never, ever, ever going to be a perfect communicator, but if you're willing to change and willing to work on it, you will have successful relationships in the workplace and in your personal life. I did not want to end our discussion on communication apprehension without giving you some tips for how to deal with it. So if you're the person who feels apprehensive, the first thing you want to do is tell your partner about it. Tell them it's a real thing, that you learned about it in your Intro to Calm class. Tell them about the 3 characteristics that people with communication apprehension experience and explain how you feel. But don't wait until you're in the middle of a fight to do this. Pick a time when you're calm. The second thing you can do is simply ask for more time to process your emotions and think about what you want to say. You're going to need that time, and you'll go a lot farther in your relationship if your partner understands that. Number 3, write down what you want to say. First of all, it'll give you a little bit of time. if you're writing things down. And also, it will help you stay organized, give you something to focus on, and it might also help your partner understand you a little bit better. The fourth thing you can do if you have communication apprehension is commit to changing it. There's actually a lot of research about it that shows that if you have communication apprehension, you're very likely to not be very happy in relationships because you're unable to say how you really feel and ever get your way when there is some kind of problem. There's also research that shows that it's related to emotional intelligence, which is kind of like your personal maturity. So if you are committed to change it, you're going to be a lot happier, both in the workplace and in your interpersonal relationships. Now let's talk about if you are dealing with somebody like I was who has communication apprehension. The first thing you can do is avoid discussing problems when you're upset. Now, that's really hard to do because that is the first thing you're going to do. You want to solve it. You want to talk about it right now. But it's really, really, really hard for people with communication apprehension to sometimes think on their feet, especially if they feel that they're under attack. So you might want to make an appointment to talk about it. Hey, do you need a little bit of extra time? Let's talk about it after dinner. A few years ago, my husband and I had an issue we were trying to work through, and that's what we did. Gave him a little bit of time to write down his thoughts, and we made kind of like an appointment to discuss it after dinner, and that lasted for a few weeks. We didn't talk about it every night, but it really did help to have a focus of when we were going to have that discussion so we could both be mentally prepared. The second thing you can do is watch your posture. Sometimes really facing somebody, getting in their face, looking like this is going to scare that person. So it actually helps to sit a little bit side to side. You could maybe go for a walk, go for a drive if you're not upset and it won't be dangerous. And not being in such a confrontational posture will help the person relax a little bit and maybe be able to say a little bit more easily what is on his or her mind. Finally, the thing that you need to do the most is foster good communication right from the beginning of your relationship. Set up trust. Be able to be somebody that your partner will know he or she can just simply count on to not freak out, yell, get aggressive, and all of the other things that are just going to add to the fear situation, right? So you need to control yourself, stay calm, stay open to listening, and open to changing your own behavior so that you can help that person change his or her behavior. Please remember that if my husband and I did it, you can do it too. It just takes a little bit of commitment, a little bit of extra time, and change. After you take the Module 5 quiz on communication apprehension, you will have had the opportunity to earn up to 1,000 points in this class. But because I know it was such a weird semester, I'm going to give you the opportunity to earn up to 50 bonus points. Next week, I'm going to set up some kind of randomly selected videos on topics that I think are interesting and have to do with communication. You'll watch those videos, and if you want, you'll take a 10-question quiz worth up to 50 points. That's half a letter grade. I know this has been the weirdest semester ever. But I was blessed with 4 really awesome Intro to Comm classes. I really had a lot of fun with you guys the first half of this semester, and I do regret not being able to spend the second half of the semester in the classroom with you. I did have a lot of fun making the videos though. I hope you enjoyed them, and I also want you to know that I love to hear from former students, so please don't hesitate to contact me, send me an email, if you have a job-related question or if you simply want to touch base. Also, I want to remind you, don't forget to register for your classes for next semester. If you don't register when you're supposed to, classes get canceled, and that's not really good for anybody. Keep your chin up. you'll get through this semester. And if you just focus on your schoolwork and try to keep a good sense of humor about yourself, everything will be fine. Bow.